Well, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, it is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Today is May the, 29th. Wow, we're just racing through this year, aren't we? Anyways, before we begin, if you're watching this on as a reel through Facebook, it'd really be like to get the algorithm working up and high. Just give it a like, especially if it's beneficial. These videos that I'm putting together are beneficial, and see if we can get more and more views. And if you are watching it, and if you're not watching it, and if you're watching it on YouTube, it would be really, really great if you went hit the like and the subscribe. And I'm going to ask also, if you're watching it as a reel, go to the YouTube and see if we can get our numbers up. But anyways, I wanted to show you or speak about understanding Muslim misunderstandings. And it's my experience has been, and I've been doing it, folks, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for over 50 years. And I have to say that with my engagement with Muslims, now some are better than others, but the vast majority have no idea of what Christians believe about any doctrine whatsoever. And there is like a terrible misrepresentation of the Christian message, and they create these terrible strongman arguments. And I'm going to show you one right here by the same individual. There's actually two. You have this one here. Why Jesus called himself the Son when he was speaking from heaven, and then the quote from Matthew 3:17, and again we have this, why Jesus praised himself as Son to himself. And this is what is very often called Sabellianism or modalism, where Jesus is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's sort of a morphine or changing modes between each other. And of course that was a heresy condemned by the early church. And if I were to ask this particular individual, can you give me both a theological and a historical definition of the Trinity? They can't. And I'm just going to give you a very brief one, and that is basically, in the one being, or that is God, there exist three co-equal and co-eternal persons. In other words, God is one in his being or essence, and three in his persons. And so you make a distinction between the being of God, that is what God is ontologically, and the person of God, that is who he is and how he relates to his two creations. So let's look at Matthew 3 just very briefly. And a lot can be said, but I'm just going to give us just a very brief overview. This is the baptism of Jesus, and we have this in also in the Gospel of Mark. But after being baptized, Jesus came immediately up out of the water, and behold, the heavens were opened, and he, that is John the Baptizer, saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove, coming upon him. In other words, the Spirit or the dove descends upon, the Holy Spirit descends upon Jesus, and then it is the form of the dove. And then a voice coming from heaven, that's the Father speaking, this is my Son, the beloved, in whom I'm well pleased. And so you see what is working here is the Spirit is descending from heaven. A voice is speaking, the Father, and descending upon Jesus. And the Father is designating Jesus as my Son, the beloved. And so you have in these scriptures here, basically Jesus being designated and declared the unique Son of God. So I just hope that's helpful. I do want to, in the future, look at how John or how Mark approaches this, and and talk about the very high Christology in the Gospel of Mark, where Jesus is definitely proclaimed as the Son of God. So thanks. Have a great day, and God bless.